South Carolina took care of business against Akron 28-3. Nothing really to talk about. Our other premium play hit Virginia Tech -4 against Marshall. A lot of sharp money came out on Marshall. I disagreed with it. Virginia Tech rolled and took care of business. So the only loss we had was UAB versus Middle Tennessee. Getting into the NFL, things definitely were worse for the odds breakers. We did not kill it like we did in college. There was a lot of tough games. Could not believe Lamar Jackson was able to beat Atlanta. Well, I guess I can believe it, but Atlanta, what the hell happened to this team? It's amazing to me how a high-powered offense has just faltered ever since Kyle Shanahan left. It just kind of got worse and worse and worse. And they have a good running back in Colvin there, and they got Ito Smith, and they still can't do anything. And it's almost shocking to me how bad Matt Ryan looks. And I think it's once he gets rattled, he kind of looks bad. There's been times that he's gotten through it, but not the last couple years here. This team is they have 3 great receivers: Mohamed Sanu, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley. I mean, come on. What is it? What are you guys missing here? There's definitely some bad play calling. They don't get the ball ever to their tight end ever. It's really been that bad of a that bad of a team, and it's really disappointing because how can a team that doesn't throw it to their wide receivers ever? You can't start Crabtree in fantasy. You can't start John Brown anymore with Lamar Jackson back there. How do you not just box it up and win even with, second-rate players? You should be able to do that. And so pretty bitter at the Atlanta Falcons. The big news, the Packers fired coach Mike McCarthy. He's donezo. And a lot of Packer fans are saying this is way overdue. Well, as I said before in our previous handicaps, there seems to be a little bit more problems than that. Some locker room problems, some issues, some mistrust, some jealousy maybe. I don't know. Players not caring. And they blame the coach on that, but I think Rodgers has to have some sort of say in that. And so now there's no more excuses, and so you can't just blame the next coach and keep blaming the next coach. There's got a time where Rodgers is going to have to take leadership here and make this team better. I think that the Packers will win probably pretty well the next game. They do play Atlanta. Speaking of Atlanta, and usually when a coach gets fired, you definitely look towards the team to step it up a little bit. So I think that the Packers are a little bit banged up. Some of their offensive lines banged up. I'm going to wait to get some more injury reports on them before I make any plays. But the Arizona Cardinals beat them. That's when the Packers said that's enough. Mike McCarthy, you got to go. And he was a Super Bowl winning coach for him. He won the Super Bowl. I thought that a lot of people said he was a very good coach over the years after that, and that kind of dwindled away a little bit. I think he's okay. Let's see what he is without, I guess, Rodgers, without the atmosphere. Let's see what he can do somewhere else, and then I'll have more of a judgment on him. Right now, I think he's a pretty good coach. I don't think he's a great coach. The Steelers, man, I don't know how the hell you lost that game. It's they're up 23-7, and kind of just blew it. Interception and here and there, and I was shocked at the end to see that. I watched the first half of that game and taped the second half. I gotta watch the rest of it tonight, but I'm just gonna kind of skip through it. But I saw that they kind of crumbled. From what I heard Tomlin had a good game plan, and some things didn't go their way. And Justin Jackson had a good game for the Chargers, and it's just there's a big sharp side was taking the Steelers there, and it just didn't work out. That's the NFL for you, One sharp side that did work out was my Bears got beat by the Giants. And I'll tell you this, that Chase Daniel, he is not an NFL quarterback. He is nervous. He gave them a touchdown at the beginning of the game. He said, here, Ogletree, here, take the ball and run in the end zone. That's what he did. And he couldn't do really much the whole game. It was more scheme stuff that, he was little dinking and dunking and stuff that Nagy set up for him. He threw a couple picks that game. One wide receiver fumbled it. I think it was Miller or I think it was Gabriel that did it. And that screwed him up too. Everything was just going for the Giants, but they also had to have a trick play with Odell Beckham throwing a touchdown. The Bears blew coverage on one touchdown. So it was just that perfect storm. The fact that they came and pushed it back to overtime, got an onside kick, down 10 points, score a touchdown or score a field goal, get an onside kick, and then drive it down and score a touchdown, mostly because of Tariq Cohen's athleticism. And then you're like, oh my God, we're going to win this. And Matt Nagy blew it. He should have went for 2 there. You go for 2 when you're on your backup quarterback and you are not on your home field. That's when you go for 2 with 0 seconds left in the game. He missed that opportunity. He decided to roll the dice with overtime. And, there's always, you're never going to get the officials on your side when you're away from your home. They're going to be on the other side usually. It was just the wrong decision. I thought Nagy should have went for 2 and won the game when the momentum was with him. But it doesn't matter. That was a bad spot for the Bears. But for the good for the Bears and Bears fans is that the whole NFC North lost. If you look, the Vikings, play the Patriots, and they lost by 14 points, 24-10. Things are looking pretty scary in Minnesota land, but they're not out of it by any means. 6-5-1, they could still win the division. The Bears have a hard finish here, so we'll see. We'll see how that ends up. They play the Bears the very last game of the season, so that's going to be a really interesting finish in the NFC North. The Bears have the Rams next week, and as a Bears fan, I was thinking, God, I'd rather win this Giants game and just get the 9th win and then probably lose to the Rams. So, if Mitch could have went, I think he should have played, but I hear Mitch could have went, but who knows? You got to trust Nagy here and give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's just, obviously I'd be wrong if he doesn't play the next game, but we'll see if he's starting against the Rams. That'll be huge. The Bengals lost to the Broncos 24-10. AJ Green is out for the season. Terrible for AJ Green fantasy owners, but the Bengals are just in utter dismay right now. 5-7. They cannot get it together. They have been just losing games left and right. Out of their last 7 games, they only won 1 against the Tampa Bay Bucks. And they shouldn't have won that one either. It's just been brutal for Bengals fans. The Dolphins ended up beating the Bills. The Bills covered their spread. Josh Allen, he's stepping up a little bit. And, he's a team. That's a team you want to kind of be on when they're playing at home, in my opinion. The Colts throwing up a goose egg against the Jacksonville Jaguars, losing 6-0. 6-0. Man, what a bad spot for them. Jacksonville, you thought that you thought that Ramsey was actually going to be out, but he played, and he's the voice behind that defense. He's the man. And a guy like Jalen Ramsey, he led that team to stopping Andrew Luck and stopping that whole high-powered offense, and you got to give it up to him. You got to give it up to him. He played exceptionally well that game. The last thing I want to mention is Kareem Hunt with the Kansas City Chiefs. You lied to the team because you didn't think that there's video evidence of you being a complete ass, and then later TMZ comes up and pays for it and broadcasts it to America. So a little bit embarrassing for the Chiefs and for the NFL. Hopefully they can get their heads out of their asses and start paying for some video. I don't know what he was thinking there. He looked like he might have been drunk, but he broke the law, and you do not put your hands on women. The whole battered women thing is a true thing that can happen, and there is a zero tolerance policy in the NFL for it. Zero tolerance, and he should have known that, and he did that anyway. That makes him a criminal, and he deserves to be removed from the NFL. And I'm not one of those people that say don't ever let someone back, because I always believe in second chances, and he made mistakes, but he has to go through some rehab and some things like that, anger management, whatever, before he should be considered to have any type of job back in the National Football League. To go over the agenda for the bowl season, we are going to cover every bowl game for you. So we're going to podcast about it, and there's going to be some write-ups about it on theoddsbreakers.com. If we don't have an actual play, we're going to have a lean on a side or two on these games, and our premium plays will be sent to our members before the podcast is released. We also may do something called a money line rollover for everybody. You start with a unit and watch it kind of build up, and you just put your profits on top of what you bet before and watch it build up. There's an opportunity to bank some of that money, so you can start playing with house money as well. So we might talk a little bit about doing that as well for our next episodes here coming up for college bowl season. All right, let's get into some fantasy football week 14 with D Nasty. All right, it's time for some fantasy football week 14. We have D Nasty. It's the playoffs. What's happening, Dave?
Not much is going on.
Well, we're ready, my friend. It looks like I made the playoffs in 2 leagues and maybe 3. We'll see what happens after tonight. It's going to be pretty close. 2 of my 4 leagues. So that's not terrible. The bigger money ones I'm in, so that's the important thing. How you doing?
Made them playoffs in 7 out of my 8 leagues. I didn't make it tonight. I lost by 5 points in my last league to get in. So I would have made it out of 8 of 8 if Josh Adams would have got me a touchdown tonight. Yeah,
terrible injury too. Well, I don't know how. I didn't quite see it, but I know Colt McCoy went out and the Sanchez came in. But behind that offensive line for the Redskins, I don't think anything matters. They're absolutely terrible, and I think they proved it how bad they are tonight. It's just been really brutal on them, and they're a team that you can't be too excited for if you have any fantasy players on the Redskins. Absolutely, I'd probably almost rather have some Raiders guys than right now the Redskins. It's looking that bad, but huge changes happened in Packerland, and being that you're a Packer fan, I'd like to know your opinion on the McCarthy firing.
Well, I definitely think it was overdue. Him and Rodgers weren't getting along. The last year even, they had similar problems. You could tell Rodgers wasn't giving it his all. It was his 35th birthday. Mark Murphy gave him his birthday present in Cam McCarthy for him. I think Rodgers had a lot of say in that, but they just weren't getting it done. The record obviously shows that. So change was obviously overdue. So I think it was a good move on the Packers' part.
Well, McCarthy was a Super Bowl winning coach. And he seemed to put some stuff together. I remember the year after the Super Bowl, they were talking like he was a top 10 type coach now, and apparently that's changed in some of the Packer fans' minds, right?
Well, they got to win, so they're not winning, so the coaches don't stay if they don't win. So it's kind of how it goes.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And I expect a big performance this week from the Packers, and usually when a coach gets canned, the team usually steps up. So we'll see what they do against the banged up Atlanta Falcons. But why don't we get right into fantasy football and see if we can help some people win their playoffs. Because if you're listening, you're probably in the playoffs. If you